Hi, I'm Cody, and the article I did was Gender Differences and Association with Deviant Peer Groups, Examining Individual Interactional and Composition Factors. The researchers were Constance Chappell, Jamie Bask, and Meredith Wortham, and it's from the Deviant Behavior Journal, which was published in January 2014. The research question was, are the predictors of associating with deviant peers different for boys and girls? The independent variables were interactional processes, which included the family and community, individual effects, which included self-control and peer rejection, peer group composition factors, and the gender's differences in each group variable. And dependent variables were deviant peer pressure and deviant peer association. So the research hypothesis were that the independent variables would have a negative effect on the dependent variables, such as like less parental supervision and structure leads to like more likelihood of delinquency, and then like low self-control leads to more deviant peers, and larger peer groups tend to have more delinquents in them. So the research method they used was existing sources of data. They used a survey called the National Longitudinal Survey of Youth, which gives basic family information about the respondents. The population they used were 306 boys and 319 girls between the ages of 10 and 12 in 1996. They were randomly selected across the nation as whoever responded to the survey. And they used such an old survey because there's so many young mothers now, and that's directly related to delinquency, so they didn't want to ruin their data. They collected it, they put everything on a numbering system. They would ask them a question. For example, to test supervision, they asked the kids how often the parents asked like where they were and who they were with. It would be 0 would be not at all, 1 is just a little, 2 is some, 3 is a lot. Each variable was tested on this ordinal scale relative to the questions asked, and they asked questions regarding like physical punishment, issues within a neighborhood, how children get along with others, their self-control, and how many like close boy or girlfriends they have. They found that the predictors of exposure to deviant peers actually do differ greatly by gender. The boys reported much higher levels of peer pressure, but the girls were actually more influenced by the deviant peer pressure, such as if like a boy and a girl both have like low self-control, less supervision, and poor neighborhood organization. The girl would be much more affected than the boy would be. Girls are actually more sensitive to peer pressure, they found, and the data supported their hypothesis. Like, less parental supervision and low self-control did lead to a higher risk of delinquency. So they had to be concerned about, they were doing a study of children, so they didn't want to push any boundaries, of course. And then they talked about gang violence and physical punishment by parents, which are two careful subjects, so they had to be careful about that. Sociologists would be interested in this or they would be most interested in how the independent variables led to association with deviant peers and how it differed by gender, because sociologists can further the understanding on deviant behavior with this information and give more explanation as to how family, friends, and surroundings affect deviant behavior. Another social behavior scientist would be most interested in the actual answers to the questions from the survey, because it would explain how life is like at home for these children and like what kind of neighborhood they live in and what their self-control is like at this age. They could link this information to what life is like for children in this era. A different research method they could have used is observation, because they could have just watched over the children, see how they acted with their friends and everything, and kind of seeing how deviant peer pressure affected them. It would have given them a better insight on the characteristics of the children and how they reacted in specific situations. This is relevant to sociology because it's a study on deviant behavior, which is an important part of sociology. It gives sociologists a better understanding how deviant behavior affects children and what characteristics or predictors are most likely to encourage deviant behavior in children. And it could help maybe like parents, they could understand, get this information from the study and hopefully watch over their children better, or whatever they need to prevent them from delinquency in the future. So that's everything. Thank you.
So glad this was over.